I've been watching our crap media all weekend, and I think that's what I'll call them from now on, Mr. Producer, among other things, the crap media, because that's what they are. What is it with our crap media in Israel? Boy, do they hate Israel. They hate Israel like they hate America. All summer long, Israel's been taking rockets from Hamas, from the Gaza Strip, which they used to control. They gave up the Gaza Strip as sort of a pathway to a second state, the two-state solution. And look what it is. It's a terrorist state. Iran funnels missiles to the Gaza Strip through Egypt. Egypt, which is now also, if not a flat-out terrorist state, it's gives aid and comfort to it. Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood, Hezbollah, this is all incestuous. And by the way, not one old white man among them. Just want to keep pointing that out. So, first of all, I want to give you a 3-minute audio lesson. And it's not enough, but it's the best I can do on radio right now. Of the background of this Palestinian movement, of these nomads and Bedouins, who the Arabs detest, by the way. The Arabs hate the Palestinians. And so they keep promoting this as a first line of attack on Israel. But I want you to listen to this. I've talked about this before at some length. This is a short video, actually, but you'll get to hear the audio. A couple of professors, a great author, and other folks on the Nazi roots of the Arab-Palestine national movement. Mark, what are you talking about? I want you to listen to this. Put your volume up. Hat tip Joniversity. Cut 1, go.
Here is a critical point that is generally overlooked. The anti-Semitism of the Nazis had a great appeal already in the mid-1930s to many Arab nationalists and Islamic fundamentalists.
From the mid-30s, from 1936 on, Hitler and his propaganda sections made a great effort to win over the Arab peoples of the Middle East.
We see that the undisputed leader of the Palestinian Arab national movement of the 1920s, 1930s and 40s, Haj Amin al-Husseini, the Mufti of Jerusalem, was a fervent admirer of Adolf Hitler.
The Mufti was one of the founders of the radical Islamic movement, and Hitler saw at once that this man not only could serve his purpose, but wanted to serve his purpose.
There is a very important meeting between Hitler and the Mufti of Jerusalem on the 28th of November 1941, of which we have a full protocol. And what Hitler explains is that this is first and foremost a war of extermination against Jewry. And he tells him to lock this secret in his heart. He is revealing it to the Mufti. It's extraordinary he should choose the leader of the Palestinian Arab National Movement for this revelation, which is in an official German document.
It seemed strange to us that a Mufti who was not a pure Aryan was being received by Hitler. But they said, no, we have the same goal, which is the extermination of the Jews.
The Mufti was sent to the Balkans, where he raised a Bosnian Muslim SS division.
He had several SS divisions, the Handschar division, for example, where they had nominally Croatian officers, but the rank and file of the unit were entirely Muslim, Arab Muslims, and they were bringing them in from all over the world.
I was utterly astonished that the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem had raised a Panzer division of Bosnian Muslims to fight along the Waffen-SS. The fanatic Muslim world and Hitler both agreed that no ideology can exist beyond theirs. It's all-encompassing.
Now you know why I call this movement. Oh, it's me again. Now you know why I call this movement the Islamo-Nazi movement. Not to call names, but to properly characterize what this movement is. And the Islamo-Nazi regime in Iran. and Hamas, a Islamo-Nazi outfit, and so forth, because that's exactly what they are. And the naivete of our politicians and our diplomats who talk about a peace process. How do you have a peace process with people who are not just ideologically bound to the destruction of an entire people, but are religiously bound to the destruction of an entire people? There is no two-state solution when people are shooting missiles into your capital or into your most populous city. And wait until the Iranians get nukes if we don't stop them. Mark, what's this have to do with us? It has everything to do with us. This is a worldwide movement. It's not going to limit itself to the Middle East. It's not going to limit itself to Israel. We've already been hit by this movement ourselves on 9/11. Britain was hit. Its subways were hit by this movement. And there are other countries all over the world who've been hit. This is a growing movement. And they're getting more and more sophisticated weapons. Weapons that can blow cities off the face of the earth. There is no two-state solution. There's no state solution. This is a force that intends to go into all over 190 states. We call them countries. This is a force that is treated with respect in our United Nations. That's why it's important to us, all of us. I mean, I want you to hear I had Mr. Producer put together a media montage of some of the reporting that's been going on. And I want you to keep in mind, missiles have been fired into Israel all summer long. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of missiles. Now, before we go there, I want you to think the United States of America and hundreds of missiles are shot into the United States of America from Canada or from Mexico. Are you kidding me? And we know who's doing it, and we know where they're coming from? Do you think we would sit still month after month after month and tolerate that? Do you think any country would? Any country? Any? No, they wouldn't. And so I want you to listen to our reporting. And isn't it interesting? All through the summer, the vast majority of the news outlets didn't report a damn thing. But now that Israel has finally decided, you know what? This has to stop. And this is how it works, isn't it, folks? They're pushed, and finally they react, and then they're told, don't escalate the violence, Israel. Don't step it up. Don't actually defeat your enemy, because we don't do that in the United States anymore. No. Let's negotiate a peace. Your 450,000th negotiated peace. Why don't we do that? With a movement that was born out of Nazi Germany. Yeah, why don't you negotiate with that? Now you know why the Islamo-Nazi Ahmadinejad over there in Tehran is always talking about wiping Israel off the face of the earth, pushing the Jews into the sea, because he's one of them. Here's our great media, the liberal, open-minded media that cares about the little guy. Cut 2, go.
Israeli airstrikes have taken a heavy toll on
CNN.
Civilians in Gaza.
Israel continued its bombardment on the Gaza Strip overnight for the 5th consecutive day, pounding several buildings.
Today on Face the Nation,
CBS.
Israel bombs terrorist targets in Gaza for the 5th straight day from the air and the sea. Israel has launched more than 1,000 strikes in Gaza.
Israeli jets pummeling Gaza overnight. 2 buildings housing Hamas and international media were targeted. 6 journalists were wounded. From the sea, volley after volley of naval artillery hit alleged terror sites.
And Israel has stepped up its air assault. A few hours ago, warplanes bombed Hamas government and security compounds. Israel is sending more reservists to the border, and everyone is waiting for Israeli troops to invade.
The Israelis are rejecting the ceasefire, a Hamas spokesman told us. Israel will continue carrying out massacres against our people.
Back to Weekends of Alex Witt. Just past the half hour, Israel is expanding its military assault on Hamas forces inside Gaza.
Oh, Israel. Well, of course Israel's pounding them. Well, they're hitting civilian sites. Civilian sites? You mean the ones with the missiles in the schoolyards? You mean the one with the military sites in the hospitals? Where the headquarters and the various other compounds are in population centers? Here's my suggestion, media. Next time you talk to your friends at Hamas, why don't you suggest that they not put all these military assets around their people, under their people, in their schoolyards, at their hospitals, in their storefronts. Why don't you recommend that? Then there may be fewer civilian casualties. I actually have a better idea. Why don't you recommend that they stop firing missiles into the towns and cities across the border, and then nobody will bother them at all? Here's another idea. Why don't you tell them Hitler was defeated, the Third Reich was defeated, and they may want to give that up? What a crap media we have in this country. Not crack, crap. CNN did this really heartfelt story about this Palestinian child who died. I want you to listen to the whole thing, and then I want you to listen to me sum it up, because there's a shocking detail that CNN may have overlooked. Cut 3, go.
A scene no parent should ever have to endure, playing out in front of our camera at the Al-Shifa hospital. 4-year-old Mahmoud Sadallah lies dead in the arms of a neighbor, a child of Gaza, another victim of an airstrike. We went to the neighborhood where he lived and met his aunt. Where were you when this happened? I was in the house over here. When I heard the boom, I went running out. I went out screaming and hollering. It was a terrible scene, such a scary scene, she says. This is where little Mahmoud's family lives, and to give you some idea of what this family went through and what he endured, all you have to do is look at the damage to the home. He was playing just downstairs when the bomb fell. While there were plenty of Hamas flags flying in this neighborhood, 5 hours after the attack, we saw no evidence here of military activity, though it was impossible to look in every building.
This actually went on for how long, Mr. Producer? 3 minutes? And it goes on and on and on. And it turns out that bomb that killed that little baby boy was a Hamas bomb, a Hamas missile. It misfired. It landed on their own people. CNN got it wrong for 3 minutes, maybe 4. On and on and on as the world watched this reporter. You may want to send this clip to the Consul General from Israel and the U.S. as well, Mr. Producer. I just want to make sure they're all informed because I'm sure they're very busy.